here.
Well,
but let me have him. Let me have Mr.
Yeah.
Flores respond if you'd like to briefly. And
we were very clear in the policy committee what we were going to do with this bill as it moved forward to appropriations. Couldn't be any clearer. We were going to narrow it. It was not going to be called. We were not going to eliminate the milk pool, and then we held this bill in committee another week in order to produce language for it. So I don't think this is not one of your midnight specials at the end of the session. This is, we were very, very clear, had an informational hearing on it, lasted 3.5+ hours, plus an additional policy committee. Senator Hancock's on the committee. She sat through grueling hours where we had these discussions and debates. So it is this. Believe me, this is not a gutting them in coming from the Assembly.
And my comment to that isn't that it is a sudden gutting them in. It's just that I'm concerned that in the narrowing of the bill, it actually changes the impact in such a way that the policy needs to be discussed, it seems to me, on a policy level, not on a fiscal level.
I understand. Senator
That would be my
of course,
observation.
the folks that most worry about that are the policy chairs who 9 times out of 10 call it back to committee, but you are talking to the policy chair today, and I'm telling you that we were very clear.
No, the people who care about that are the whole legislature.
I get it.
Who believes that we have policy committees in order to make sure that the policy discussion gets talked about in the right place.
I completely agree, and if every bill were held to that standard, I would completely agree with you. I think this is one of those bills where there was ample opportunities in terms of where it was going, language put forward and held over here, language that is actually produced, you can read and see. So I can tell you that I think the policies are very clear in front of you. We're narrowing this to a very small, finite group. And may I close, Madam Chair, if I could, or do you have more opposition?
We may have further testimony. I don't know yet, Senator Flores, but Senator Cox would like to speak, and then Senator Hancock.
Madam Chair, it does seem to me that Senator Runner has made a valid point. It is true that from time to time bills are narrowed after they get out of a policy committee, but this bill as such was not heard in policy committee. Now, I appreciate Senator Flores' position, but he in fact has a vested interest in this particular bill, and whether or not we send it back to policy or not, of course, is the will of this committee. But it does seem to me that this is a fairly unique situation in that we now have a situation where it appears that this is a bill about the big boys crowding out the little boys. Now, some would say, well, that's the American way. I would say that we've got a situation here where you can't have people who are outside of this pool that are exempted, and then allow others to make a decision as to whether or not they want to be exempted or not, and that's precisely what this bill does, as far as I can tell. And it does mean that in fact this bill does in fact favor the big boys, and that's the reason, by the way, that this bill needs to go back to the policy committee to be heard, as opposed to us moving this bill on based upon a fiscal matter. So,
well, we're going to hear from Senator Hancock and then Senator Denham. We still have public testimony to finish, and Senator Weiland, you'd like to speak also? I think we understand that if we were to refer it on, and I'm not in favor of that at this point, it would go back to rules, not to the policy committee. That's the way. That's the way the Senate works. And once again, members, I just have to remind you, here in Appropriations, we look at bills that have changed in the course of the policy committee discussions. This bill has been narrowed, not broadened. So, if rules chooses to take an action on it, that is within their purview. But I am not going to support that.
But, Madam Chair, respectfully, this bill has not been heard in policy. Was not heard by the policy committee.
I think that's debatable. The policy chair is in front of us. But
on or not, but it has been heard. We said exactly what we were going to do in the policy committee in terms of narrowing it. We couldn't be any clearer in terms of that, and we came to this committee. It was going to go out 28.8. We even held, how many folks hold their own bills back in this committee? 28.8 in order to have this debate. We did. So, this is why we're sitting in front of the chair today, in order to have this debate. But I will tell you, this was not something we rushed through. This is something that came to this committee and could have easily been moved out. We chose not to do that, so you could read language, and here we find ourselves today.
Senator, I don't have a transcript of exactly what you said, but
we'll get you one. I will get you one.
But it was my understanding.
I will get you one, Senator Cox.
That you said,
and you can read the transcript at the end of that hearing. I know exactly what I said.
Let me tell you what I.
And I will tell you. You're not going to tell me what I said.
Okay.
You can argue to debate the merits, but you're not going to tell me what I said.
All right.
At the end of the hearing that I chaired, that I left the dais for, and handed Senator Maldonado the gavel, and I was very clear in terms of what we were going to do with this bill in terms of narrowing it.
All right. I would.
With all due respect.
Thank you. And respectfully, I would like to see the transcript then if you have it.
We will get that to you.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Cox, we got a copy of the transcript. Senator Flores is absolutely right.
Gentlemen, let's go in order. But Senator Denham, I'll get to you momentarily. Senator Hancock, then Senator Denham, then Senator Wyland.
Not to prolong this, I just did want to confirm that we had a very lengthy informational hearing on this matter, and I do recall Senator Flores saying that the bill was going to be narrowed. So,
Senator Denham, anything?
Yeah, I would like to reemphasize a couple of different points that were made. First of all, I did pull the transcript. I did read it. Senator Flores is absolutely right. He did talk about narrowing the bill, which he has done here. My concern, again, right along with Senator Runner, though, is this is a fiscal committee, and we are discussing a very, very complicated policy issue. Now, I know he's narrowed the bill from what it originally was, but I have a number of the largest dairies in the state in my district. I've spent a great deal of time just learning about the milk pooling issue, and it is a very, very complex issue that I can tell you, after all of my research, after spending time with all different members of the industry, I still don't understand it well enough, and I have a lot of these dairies. So to deal with something this complicated in this short amount of time in this committee, I find is very concerning. The other issue is there is one individual, one company that has a lawsuit that is still pending that this bill would allow, in its current fashion, would allow this individual to get away with about $1 million that he would have to pay into the milk pool issue. It's my understanding that that is one issue that could get resolved as this moves forward.
Yes.
Senator Flores, can we hear from the rest of the committee, and then I'll let you address, there's been a number of issues raised. Maybe you could give us kind of the big picture as you close. Senator Wyland, and we still have public testimony.
Madam Chair, I find myself echoing the comments of Senator Denham and Senator Runner. This is a complex bill. I actually talked to some folks about it initially, and it seemed very clear-cut to me and very straightforward. As I've heard more about it, I'm frankly confused. And I appreciate Senator Denham, who's talked to these dairies, who has them in his district, pointing out that he still is not sure. And I think it's just, I'm struggling here to really understand what's occurring. And I think, Senator Flores, those long hearings probably reflect some of the complexity of the bill and the implications. I'm also a little concerned that I understand completely from what Senator Flores has said, the author has said, that the bill is narrowed, but I'm concerned that it is, in that process, changed so that it's hard for me to really look at some of the votes from the other committee and just understand it. So I guess I'm not sure where my comment is leading, other than perhaps we ought to consider it being heard as it is, and that may have been the point that Senators Denham and Runner were saying, be heard again in Policy Committee. I understand, Senator Flores, your point, but it's pretty darn confusing to those of us who haven't in front of us.
Thank you, Senator Wyland. Maybe, Senator Flores, why don't you give us your best explanation on your close. I would say, though, that I think there are a number of questions about the bill, and there are some costs, too, so maybe a couple of days in suspense, and we can talk this through.
That is more than fine, Madam Chair. The more time the committee gets to digest the additional week of language, that's fine. But members, as you digest it, let me just simply tell you what I think this bill does. This bill, in essence, allows folks in this pool who don't want to be in it to get out, and those who benefit from it to stay in. And we are making a conscious choice, which we do every single day in every single bill here, when we pick winners and losers based on the best policy in terms of what is good for the overall, if you will, milk pool. This is our rendition of it. This is our bill. You can vote yes or no, whether you like our choices or not. But it couldn't be any simpler. This says those who want to remain in the pool, who have a significant economic interest to stay in, should stay in. Those who are vertically integrated and believe they're being penalized for being in the pool and who want to be out of the pool should be let out. That's it. Couldn't get any simpler. And that's what this bill is about, and I couldn't summarize it any simpler than that. And it is a complex issue. God forbid the legislature would want to take on a complex issue. Rather, maybe we should put it on the ballot and have the people of California vote an initiative on it. But I'll tell you, this is one of those hard choices where the legislature is asked to step up and make a conscious choice for policy. And this is my rendition of it. Any other members welcome to go the other way if they believe it should be the other way. But this was our rendition of what we believe is a fair policy for those who are vertically integrated. Should be rewarded, not penalized. Those who produce a product that isn't pooled with the other milk products, particularly pasteurized milk, shouldn't be asked to pay in a pool if they're not getting any benefit. They should be let out. And that's what the bill does, Madam Chair. I welcome it to be, of course, on suspense, and we'll see you next week.
Senator Flores, just one more thing. I failed to finish the public comment. And did I ask Finance, do you have a file on this?
I have a file on it. However, it's for the previous version of the bill, and most of the comments are not relevant.
Not germane. Any further testimony?
Madam Chair, keeping it simple, Louis Brown on behalf of the Alliance of Western Milk Producers opposed to the bill in its current form.
Any further testimony on the bill? Senator Denham, one last comment?
Just a point of clarification. First of all, you said that anybody that wanted to be excluded could be excluded. That's not my understanding of this bill.
Yeah.
I imagine that there are others out there. While it may further hurt the entire pool, I imagine there are others that would like to be excluded as well.
And this is our best rendition of who we think should be excluded. This is our bill. And this is what we think would be the best balance from our perspective. That's where we fall on this. Of course, we could do millions of exemptions to start to look like the GO committee, but this is our best look at what we think is our view, Senator Denham, after some hearings. So, and let me also say, members, this isn't going straight to the governor's desk. I do believe it goes to the other house. It goes to two policy committees and the Ag Committee and comes back on here for concurrence. So this is as though this is the last minute going to the governor tonight at midnight. There still is an entire house on the other side that will hear the merits of this, and this is our rendition going through this house.
The other point I had, and I'm still unsure on how I'm going to vote for this, but I can guarantee you...
This is going to suspense, Senator Denham, unless you have an objection.
No, I understand. Okay. But as this comes back up, I would absolutely have to be a no, as long as this still includes the... does not have the amendment in there to exclude the $1 million payment.
We'll work on that with you, Senator Denham. Yes, absolutely.
All right, members, and without objection, SB 362 moves to suspense. Thank you, Senator. Are there any other authors present? There are not. So let's finish Senator Flores's file here. SB 621, he waived presentation on it. This is career technical education. Is there public testimony? I see you, Mr. Hicks. Don't fall. Okay. SB 621, please take a seat and tell us your position briefly.
Yeah, my name is Randy Hicks, and I'm with Californians with Disability Rights. Our position is support. We believe, even though the Department of Education says the costs are going to be over $250,000, we believe it's $250,000 that's well spent on this program, plus it's going to help increase the program and get more people with disabilities the help that they need. It also says that it's unnecessary because they have the Project Workability program. We believe that this this program, and I'm sorry, this bill here will strengthen the workability program, and for that we support Mr. Flores and this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Any other testimony on SB 621? Is there any opposition testimony? Finance, do you have a file?
No file.
Without objection, that bill will go to suspense. SB 773, also by Senator Flores, workers' compensation. Is there testimony in favor? All righty. Any testimony in favor? Any opposition testimony? You can come forward also.
Randy Hicks again with Californians with Disability Rights. And we like this bill because, one, people who are injured on the job need time to recover so they can go back to work and be productive members of society and as much time as they need. As somebody who is an injured worker and who had to got a short time, only 2 days to recover, I was not able to go back to work, and I lost my job. So this would definitely help. Also, it just seems that the cost of this is minimal, and anything that we can do to help injured workers go back to work is the best thing for everybody. So Californians with Disability Rights, we support Mr. Flores and this bill.
Thank you. Is there opposition?
Madam Chair, Bill Cyberling representing the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. The board's opposed to the bill in its current form. Believes that the benefits that are being proposed should be accompanied by a balance of worker compensation reforms, which was a similar process conducted in 2003 and 2004. So under the present structure of the bill, the board would oppose. Thank you.
Any other testimony on SB 773? Finance, do you have a file?
No, I do not.
Without objection, then that goes to suspense. SB 773. Let's see. Senator Hancock waiving representation on two bills. We'll take up SB 292, prisoner incarceration. Is there testimony on SB 292? Any testimony, pro or con? Finance, do you have a file?
The Department of Finance is opposed to this measure because it would create a general fund pressure to fund a new program at a time when the state is facing a budget deficit.
Without objection, then this bill will go to suspense. Next is SB 363, energy conservation for our public schools. Is there public testimony on SB 363? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
The Energy Commission indicates that costs for the bill would be minor and absorbable. Finance is, however, concerned that the provisions related to the deposit of ARA funds could be inconsistent with the federal requirement and the receipt of those federal funds.
All right. Then, without objection, SB 363 will be moved to suspense. Thank you. Let's see, waive presentation on Senator DeSaulniers' 4 items. SB 147, this is Senator DeSaulniers' bills. SB 147 is career technical education. Is there public testimony? Any public testimony, pro or con? Seeing none, suspense, do you have a comment?
No file.
All righty, that'll be moved to suspense. Next is SB 228, having to do with plastic bags. Is there public testimony? Public testimony on plastic bags? All righty. Finance, do you have a comment?
We believe that the fiscal costs would be minor and absorbable.
Minor and absorbable. All righty. Nevertheless, it also is a candidate for suspense without objection. Senator DeSaulniers' next important piece of legislation, SB 341, and it is. I'm not. Pharmaceutical drug reactions. Is there public testimony on SB 341? Please come forward. Pro or con?
Against.
Okay. Is there any support testimony? All righty. Go right ahead. Both are opposition. Go ahead. You, sir.
Madam Chair, Michael Hawkins with the California Healthcare Association, representing the
biomedical. We're opposed to this on fiscal grounds. The FDA already does this. The Obama administration has put in $1.1 billion in stimulus funds for comparative effectiveness, and we also think that it is a poor use of educational university funds at this time. Therefore, we're strongly opposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. Melissa Cortez Roth on behalf of Bay Bio, Northern California's Life Sciences Association, opposed for the reasons already stated.
Thank you. Any additional testimony on SB 341? Finance, do you have a comment?
No file.
Then without objection, it will go to suspense. And Senator DeSaulnier's last item is SB 406, land use, environmental quality. Is there public testimony here? For or against?
Madam Chair and members, Michael Arnold, representing the Association of Bay Area Governments, in strong support of this measure to provide a funding source for regional transportation planning to implement legislation passed last year by this legislature, SB 375, Senator Steinberg. Thank you.
Very good. Any additional testimony on SB 406? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
OPR does not have a fiscal analysis on the bill at this time. However, we note that the bill provides for a revenue stream for local governments and agencies to fund activities associated with regional land use planning. Any costs associated with the implementation of this bill would be covered by the revenues from the surcharge. So we do not believe there would be a cost to the state.
All righty. We are seeing costs in the out years for DMV programming and administration from special funds, and believe it meets the suspense criteria, so without objection, it will go there.
Madam Chair, we too had an out year for the DMV. I'm sorry. I missed that on the form.
Anytime you need any help.
No, you don't.
All righty. Let's see. A couple more wave presentations, and then we'll go to Senator Yee, I think, and then we have those vote-only measures. And when we get a little bit closer to the end, we'll need to call Senator Walters and Senator Leno and get them here, okay? Next item is Senator Wiggins, SB 539. She's waiving presentation on salmon and steelhead trout. Is there public testimony on SB 539, salmon and steelhead trout? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
The Coastal Conservancy estimates it would need ongoing funding of $100,000 from the Ocean Protection Trust Fund and one position to implement the requirements in the bill. The major source for funding for that fund is proceeds from the bond sales. 84 provided $90 million, of which currently $1.2 million is still available.
All righty. Any other comments? Seeing none, without objection, SB 539 will go to the suspense file. Next is Senator Hollingsworth, SB 564, sexually violent predators. Is there public testimony on SB 564? Any public testimony, pro or con? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
No file.
Without objection, that will go to suspense. Next is Senator Romero, SB 592, having to do with charter schools facilities programs. This is SB 592. Public testimony, for or against?
For.
Go ahead, state your name.
My name is Rob Cook. I'm Executive Officer for the State Allocation Board. And with me is Rand Martin.
And you're supporting the bill?
We are supporting the bill. The bill provides flexibility for charter schools to help them succeed in the use of state bond funds to build their facilities. The voters have been generous enough to provide $900 million to date to help build charter school facilities, but the conversion rate has been really poor.
All right.
This bill allows in addition to school districts, local government entities to hold title for those facilities, or the charter school to hold title with the state holding a lien. And to touch on the items in the analysis, the bill as drafted right now would require a title transfer on the request of the charter school from a school district. We're taking amendments to eliminate that mandate. So that issue should be relieved.
We haven't seen that language yet, but we're happy to work with you.
Okay.
It is a candidate for suspense. Any
Okay.
other testimony in favor?
Madam Chair, Rand Martin, on behalf of the California Charter Schools Association. I don't want to take Mr. Cook's thunder, but I do need to point out, and hopefully he can validate this for me. The issue relative to the state liens that the analysis brings up is not one that we find actually generates any cost for the state, because the state lien is actually, as described to me, is a one-way street, protects the state, does not expose the state to liability. Mr. Cook probably can answer this better. I think it's central to whether this bill goes to suspense or not. We think it's important for you to understand from the state's perspective why it's not a cost to the state.
All righty. Go ahead.
I would confirm that. A lien by the state on these properties protects the state's interest and holds these facilities in trust for the public school system, but does not expose the state to any liability.
All righty. I don't think we're all in agreement, but we're happy to continue working with you on it. As I said, it is a candidate for suspense. Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
No file.
All right. We'll move it to suspense, but the lien issue and the liability issue is the central one, so let's work on that. All right, so Senator Romero's SB 592 goes to suspense. Senator Yee, would you like to present your two bills? And Senator Yee is going to take up SB 426, Public School Instructions. This is a due pass, members.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Senators.
Very good.
On this particular item, 426, this bill really tries to address an ongoing problem, I think, ever since I came here to the state legislature, and that is that there are ongoing efforts to try and increase the representation in our textbooks of the diversity in the state of California. Each time we have authored different bills and it finally gets to the governor's desk, he vetoes them. And I think with the position that we ought not to be telling the Department of Education what to do. Hopefully this solution that we've come up with will address, I think, the governor's concern and also takes that or takes him out of the picture. What this bill will do is to say that on those areas where members would like to deal with issues of diversity, better representation, on and on, that by resolution that is confirmed by both houses, that the resolution goes to the curriculum committee of the state board, and they will then address the resolution at that particular time, make their recommendation to the state board, and that's what this bill does.
Yeah, Senator Yee, I was hoping to talk to you about this earlier, but I have to say, although there are likely only minor costs to this bill, we all know the situation the state is in. I think all of us pretty much have accepted the fact that there will be some more cuts to education in the very near term, immediately. And I just think it's a mixed message to be asking the Department of Education to be analyzing and developing these important topics. I mean, you know that I'm a great supporter of diversity and in diversifying our curriculum, but this just is not something I think we should be going forward with right now. I would ask if you want to work on it. Are we having another hearing on Thursday? So we could notice it as regular order. Would you mind giving us a chance to talk about it? And I really apologize for surprising you.
If I can just respond to it.
Absolutely.
During the normal course of the State Board of Education and its curriculum committee, they have to go through that anyway. They do take public testimony. They go through all kinds of vetting process so that they can then establish the curriculum framework to then let the publishers know what is it that they want in our different social studies, history textbooks, and so on. So they go through that process. All this will do is to then allow the legislature now to be part of that particular process through these resolutions. That's all it does. So normally any state board of education and its curriculum committee, they have to go through that vetting process because that's how they eventually end up establishing the framework, then finally establishing or adopting the textbook for the kids of the state of California. So this is not a separate, this is not a process that the State Board of Education and the Curriculum Committee would not be going through anyway.
I appreciate your explanation. I would like the opportunity to talk to you about it a little bit. It would be the staff tells me actually easier for us to put it in suspense rather than get a rule waiver for Thursday.
Okay.
So with your gracious consent, that's what
fine.
I'd like to do.
That's fine.
All right. So without objection, that one will go to suspense. That's SB 426, and then Senator Yee, you have one more. Beg your pardon. Senator Weiland?
On this bill, because since it's going in suspense, it may be the last time we have to actually talk about it. Although I voted against it in committee, this may be a useful way to go. Having actually done several of these resolutions that were not about diversity, but one about career technical education, about science education, I think about civic education. Lots of us here want certain things included. And I actually got one of them passed, which means that the Curriculum Commission, based on that statute, is supposed to consider or bear in mind that particular issue. But probably, and I think this is Senator Yee's point, and I know Senator Romero is also interested in this. It may be I just want to make this one comment. It may be the best way to try to do it by resolution. That may not be a bad way to go. At the end of the day, the Curriculum Commission, what would really happen is the committee that considers these things, appointed by the Curriculum Commission, and right now the History and Social Studies framework is being considered. That committee reports to the Commission. The Commission makes a report, a recommendation to the board. The board is appointed by the governor, as we know. The Commission is appointed by the governor, except for two positions. So the governor, at the end of the day, is going to have, if he or she cares, is going to have a big impact on this. This might be a way to get this job done in the form of resolutions without having to go through all the committee process. So I'd be curious. I would also be interested in your staff's ideas about the bill.
Thank you, Senator Weiland. We'd be happy to keep you fully informed. Before it goes to suspense, Finance have a comment? All right. Then thank you, Senator Yee. I'd still like it to go to suspense. And then the next one is the SB 677 workers' comp for the small farmers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Let me talk a little bit about the bill. I think we've got a number of witnesses in support. This bill is a narrowly tailored bill dealing with a particularly devastating problem in the Central Valley and other parts of the state. As you know, in the Central Valley, we have unemployment to the tune of 20% in some areas. And one of the largest area of that unemployment is, in fact, among the Hmong farmers. These are individuals who came to this country because they were literally left after we lost the Vietnam War. They came here as refugees with very little skills, and they have honed in their own skills, which is that of farming, and they've carried those skills into this particular country. And what is rather unfortunate is that they don't farm in any large capacities at all. These are small farmers. And what was particularly troubling for me was to go out into those areas and find that these individuals have marketable skills, and yet they are not able to farm. And part of it is the fact that it is extremely expensive, and part of the expense is, in fact, the workers' comp. We've had situations upon situations where literally you have these Hmong farmers who are fined $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and so rather than fight the system, they have pretty much given up. And so in my discussion, I think with many of the individuals in Central Valley, we tried to come up with a solution that would be narrowly tailored. And so this is essentially the bill. What this will do is to allow those farmers who have taxable incomes of $10,000 or less to be eligible for this particular program. In addition to that, these individuals who would in fact be granted this exemption have to be in compliance with all labor laws, that they do not use any outside contract workers, that the family members, and these are the spouses and children, that they themselves have or have access to health care insurance, that these and that there's an affidavit that there's no occupational injuries that occur in the 12 preceding months, proof that the workers, that the farmers cannot afford the cost of workers' comp, and that the Department of Industrial Relations can, in fact, revoke this exemption if there are any failures to comply with any terms of this particular bill. We will only handle 3,000 applications a year, and that this exemption has to be reauthorized every year. And then finally, there is a sunset in 2013. So it's a narrowly tailored bill trying to address the immense poverty, unemployment out in the Central Valley. And so with that urgent, well, I think it's going to go to suspense, and we'll work with you some more.
It will go to suspense, hopefully, if there's no objection, Senator Yee. And I understand your commitment to trying to help out these farmers that are in very dire straits with the economy the way it is. And I'll get you in just one moment, Senator Runner. There are some real concerns here about the policy in general. Committee staff has done some comparisons over the last week. Private insurance in almost all cases appears to be slightly higher or a little bit more than higher than the workers' comp coverage, and also the fear that not the fear, but the concern that the low-income families may become more reliant on Healthy Families or Medi-Cal. Those are also cost pressures that we're trying to assess, and we don't have the final numbers on them. But those are the reasons for the suspense file note there. So when your witnesses get to testify, maybe you can address some of that. Let's hear from Senator Runner.
Just a quick clarification. Senator, you used the phrase taxable income of $10,000. Our analysis here talks about $10,000 income. Those can be two quite different things.
They are, and no, they're taxable income.
Okay, thank you.
And witnesses in favor?
Madam Chair, Pete Price with the Community Alliance with Family Farmers. We support this effort to help these really subsistence farmers, and frankly, I assume everyone on the committee is sympathetic to the situation they face. Regarding the analysis, look, I understand the situation we're in, and the analysis brought out some good points. But on this issue of a cost shift, that shift would occur if these farm employees were right now covered by workers' comp. And as a result of this bill, the farmers drop their workers' comp, and the employees then, because they're below 250% of federal poverty level, for example, qualified for state health assistance. But in the real world, they're not covered by workers' comp right now because these farmers can't afford to pay them workers' comp. So right now, today, these farm employees are in the state system. If they get injured, that's where they're going to go if they're not covered by workers' comp right now. So I get the point about the cost shift, but I think in the real world, to a very large degree, it's not a real cost shift.
Good point, Mr. Price. So if if they're already perhaps on assistance with their health care, and private health insurance might be higher, how is alleviating their participation in workers' comp going to help the situation?
Well,
where's the daylight?
For the farm owner who has taxable
for the worker that needs the health coverage.
Well,
by allowing this program to move forward, you at least will give a family an income. The difficulty that you have right now as to why...
By relieving them of the workers' comp obligation?
Exactly.
All right. I just want to make sure I understand your thrust.
Right. And again, this is only limited
I'm saying, all right, I understand. Not all right, I agree.
But this is only for those low-income farmers in using their spouse and their kids, and that's all. That's all the family members that we're talking about.
Very good. All righty. And you had some other testimony? Mr. Price, you're finished?
Yes,
all right.
thank you.
Next, sir. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Madam Chair. My name is Blong Zhang. I'm the council member for the city of Fresno. And many of the constituents that's being discussed here are people that I represent, our family members, and not just in the city of Fresno, but throughout the valley. And, the work that has gone through these type of changes is definitely a learning lesson, not only for me, but for the many constituents who is not aware of what has gone on or how this is going to be to assist or fix them. But I can tell you this, as a representative from that particular community and the many farmers, that this will go, in fact, and impact them in a large variety of ways. And what they can do is make sure that they have an ease in terms of continuing this type of work that they can only at this time, because that's the only trade that they have. And the larger impact on the family and communities and making sure that kids are not involved in other activities is a great deal. So this discussion, although the community that we're talking about probably have no idea this discussion is going on or the depth of it, but the impact that it does for this particular, the target and the narrowness of this particular bill will help this community and give them a chance to really transition.
So just in your experience representing the people in your district, and welcome, by the way. I always like meeting other local elected officials. How is this going to help the poor family farmer probably on leased land, right? They're not property owners. Right. How is it going to help by relieving them of their obligation to get workers' comp?
Well, there's always been a fear, in terms of what they do, because as Mr. Price has said, either you pay for the workers' comp, which you can't afford already, or you take the risk. And many of these farmers, you've probably documented in the past that they've been hit by $10, $15, $20, even $30,000. So they are hurt with that, and they go right back on the welfare system in a large part. So you're not really solving, but at least when you give them an opportunity for this, they can really go out and become self-sufficient to a certain level.
How is that?
Well, because of the cost of it in itself in terms of the workers' comp, they don't necessarily have to at least...
can't find any coverage that's cheaper than the workers' comp.
That is true, but for this particular set of population, even then that you can't find it, they're not going to be able to afford that particular program, and so you're still going out there dinging them and stopping them from farming. If they're hit with $20,000 or $10,000,
I get that we're relieving them of the workers' comp responsibility, but I don't see them, getting coverage elsewhere. I just, they won't get the $10,000 fine. They also won't have the health coverage that they need in the fields. Is the way I'm understanding the real world impact of the bill.
I think Mr.
He won't.
Richard Molinar, University of California. I'm a farm advisor in Fresno County. I work with about 1,300 Southeast Asian farmers, Hmong, Mian, and Lao, as well as Hispanic and African American. And the fact is that most of the 1,300 Southeast Asian farmers that I work with cannot afford the workers' comp, and they do not have the workers' comp. I would guess that probably 20%, and I hope nobody is from DIR here and hearing me testify to this, but only 20% at most have a workers' compensation insurance policy. So they're taking the risk. And furthermore, when this all hit the fan about 2.5 years ago, about at least 50 farmers in Fresno quit farming. 50 Hmong farmers quit farming because they were scared. They would call our office and they would ask, is it safe to go out and work in my fields today?
Okay. Senator Cox has a question.
Let me just ask you a question. Of the farmers that you're talking about and the farmers that would be affected, do they have employees?
According to the state, yes. But those employees are extended family or wife and spouse, spouse and kids.
You don't have to cover in workers' compensation. You don't have to cover your wife.
You do. No, you do. I beg to differ with you, but you do.
You don't have to cover yourself?
You don't have to cover yourself. You don't have to cover your wife. You're right. You don't have to cover your wife and your kids if they are a partnership in a legal document. If they're defined in a legal document that they're in a partnership or part of the farm, then they do not have to be. They're excluded from the workers' comp.
And minority age kids who are under 15
Minor children.
have to be covered?
I'm not sure on the age.
California community property plays a role?
I'm not sure about that. I couldn't attest to that.
This is a community property state.
Yeah.
So everything that an individual does may be different than the old country, but everything an individual does is community property. Half is hers, and half is mine.
Mm-hmm. But the fact is still that the wife and the spouse and the children have to be covered by the workers' comp policy.
If the kids are under a specific age?
I don't know about that.
That's the statement you just made. I'm just trying to understand what you said. You said spouse and children have to be covered. My question was if the children are under 15 years of age, and you said you didn't know about that. So I'm just trying to understand what the...
I don't know where the age distinction comes in, where they have to be covered, if there is a distinction in age for the workers' compensation requirement.
Does it make any difference whether or not the spouse receives a 1099 or a W-2 or some sort of tax provision?
As far as I know, there is no allowance for that. It's simply that the DIR can fine the farmer if there is not a policy in place for the wife or the spouse. I'm sorry, I keep saying the spouse and the children.
All right, thank you.
All right, I think there's some more testimony here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Shaw, the National Federation of Independent Business and Support. We think this provides a little additional flexibility to those who are most in need and provides an opportunity for those who are in a particularly hard-hit area to continue farming operations.
What flexibility is that?
By alleviating the burden of the workers' comp insurance requirement.
Okie dokie.
Giving them
Anything
that
else?
flexibility. No,
Okay.
Hello, my name is Sandra Rooney. I'm actually a community member, live and work in Stockton, California, where a lot of these family farmers live. I see them at the local farmers market and hear their concerns, and I'm just here to extend that to you to consider alleviating them of the workers' comp so they can continue their farming and supporting their family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Min Chao Din. I'm a student at University Pacific, and I'm a native of Stockton. And I'm a longtime family friend of Hmong farmers. They own a strawberry farm, and they've been very good to my family, and they're very hard workers. And this bill would greatly help them. So thank you. Thank you all the committee for considering this.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. Is there any other testimony? Is there opposition testimony? No opposition. Finance, do you have a comment?
No file.
Then the thrust of the bill, Senator Yee, I couldn't be, more pleased with. But I think there are some unintended consequences here and some direct results. Anyway, we do see costs there. Let us work on it in suspense.
And I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I think we have these vote-onlys. I have two bills. Members, if you please, I'll waive a presentation on the claims bill. This is the regular claims bill, nothing controversial, and it is a due pass. Could I have a motion on that?
You have a motion to move the due pass.
Senator Cox, thank you so much. Will you call the roll, please?
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Cox?
Aye.
Cox, aye. Corbett? Aye. Corbett, aye. Denham?
Don't let me close the roll.
DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Hancock? Leno? Oropeza? Oropeza, aye. Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Walters? Wolk? Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye.
And the count is?
7-0.
7-0. We need to keep the roll open on that. Madam Chair, we have some people who are out. That next item is SB 346, hazardous materials, motor vehicle brake friction materials. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Senator Cox. This has to do with copper in brake pads, members, and it has been through, of course, policy committee. There are some small funding pressures identified in the committee analysis for appropriations. They all come out of a new special fund that is part of the bill. Members, this work has been put together by a task force that has been looking at the copper in brake pads for years. It is industry and others coming together to try to over time get the copper out of brake pads, save our local jurisdictions a lot of money in fines and water pollution costs. So I would ask for your aye vote. Let me see if there's any amendments here. I don't know. No, I don't think there are.
All right. Now.
And I have some witnesses.
All right. Witnesses in favor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Ashley Bourne. I'm the Executive Director of Sustainable Conservation. Sustainable Conservation is sponsoring SB 346 on behalf of the Brake Pad Partnership, which is a diverse coalition of industry, environmentalists, and government working to solve an environmental problem collaboratively rather than resorting to more traditional tactics like litigation. Amendments taken since SB 346 passed out of the Senate Environmental Quality Committee have been focused primarily on the amount and uses of the fee authorized by the bill. The fee, which will take effect at the beginning of 2011, has been set at $1. DTSC is directed to adjust the fee annually to compensate for inflation and maintain the real value of the fee at $1 2011 per axle set. DTSC will have first priority to fee revenues, and the remainder of the fees are to be allocated to cities, counties, and other entities with responsibility for surface waters so that they can take remedial actions while the manufacturers develop, certify, and distribute non-polluting materials over SB 346 22-year timeline. We will continue to work with interested parties to further develop and refine the bill's language on these issues and to address where in the chain of commerce the fee gets paid and who will have responsibility for verifying that payment.
All right,
thank
you for your testimony. Who's next?
Casey Kaneko of Suter and Associates on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco and the Boards of Supervisors of Alameda and Ventura County. As you know, local governments are responsible for stormwater runoff and the quality of that runoff. This bill will really assist us in trying to clean that up because much of the particulate matter does come from the braking of motor vehicles. We urge your aye vote. Thank you.
All right, and now if you'll give us a very brief testimony.
Jonathan Clay on behalf of the Port of San Diego, one of the entities facing TMDLs for copper. This bill helps us deal with an issue where we had no ability to control those sources of copper. Thank you very much.
Now, if you'll just give us your name and position, please.
Sure. I'm Victoria Rome with the Natural Resources Defense Council in support.
Thank you, Ms. Rome. Thank you.
Kelly Moran, California Stormwater Quality Association, representing our industry and municipal members in strong support.
All right.
Richard Lehman on behalf of the City of Downey in support.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Paul Gonzalez on behalf of the cities of Camarillo, Cerritos, Lakewood, Thousand Oaks, and West Covina, all in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Gonzalez, thank you.
Michael Arnold on behalf of the City of Long Beach.
Mr. Arnold.
Thank you.
Michael Endicott, Sierra Club, California, and fully dressed this time in support. Thank you.
Mr. Endicott. Any opposition to this matter? Come forward, please.
Hello.
Hi there. Mr. Chairman, members, Bill Doring representing the Motorcycle Industry Council. I feel kind of alone up here.
You are.
Anyway, the bill is presented. We're still opposed, but we would like to seek an amendment to be exempted from the bill with a couple simple facts, is that of all motorcycles and ATVs combined, we only represent 5% of all the vehicles, and the estimated vehicle mile is only 0.73%. And of the brake pad miles, only 0.40%. So we would, again, like we have communicated with the senator and the sponsors, would like to be exempt.
Thank you. I think I'm sure the senator will take that into consideration. Thank you very much. Any additional opposition? All right. Department of Finance.
The Department of Toxic Substances Control estimates that the revenues generated from the bill would be between $10 and $15 million. However, I have to make a caveat that the analysis I have is on the previous version of the bill. I'll hit the points that I think are relevant to this version of the bill. In that version of the bill, we estimated that the revenues would far exceed the costs associated with the bill.
All right, thank you. Any members of the committee have any? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, do we have any idea of say copper is one of the pollutants in the runoff that you're concerned about. Do we have any idea of the percentage of contribution made? And maybe I missed that. That may have been in the analysis.
Can I think answer it? There's been a lot of work done on this.
Yeah, we have worked together to actually have conducted a series of state-sponsored studies, and they show that copper from brake pads accounts to up to 50% of the human-generated copper coming off of highly urbanized watersheds.
And that's just copper that through the actual braking motion itself.
Exactly. Every time you hit your brakes, you have friction material that wears off and falls onto the roads.
We want clean water. I guess my only two concerns would be, one is at this point in time, when there's so many economic problems with the industry, what costs might be, and if there might be substitutes. I think there were with asbestos. I'd be a little bit concerned about the costs.
Well, the brake pad industry has been involved in these discussions and has agreed to this timeline that they feel that while it's aggressive, it is achievable to meet these compliance requirements.
Okay, well, I would feel a little bit better if they were testifying here, but we'll see as it moves along. The only other comment I want to make is, with most of these sorts of things, is that many of our international trading partners, while we ever more finely require greater environmental standards, with which I, generally speaking, actually don't disagree, our trading partners run wild. And that's a federal issue. It's an issue with both Republican and Democratic administrations. But it is frustrating when, for example, few people know this, 25% of the particulate emissions, pollution, in California comes from China. As we lose jobs there. So,
Thank you, Mr. Weiland. Any other members of the committee wish to make any comments? Just a moment. Ms. Leno, we will now ask the senator if she wishes to close.
Just to comment that brake pad manufacturers are part of this partnership and fully in support of this bill. And this is a bill that will allow us to help our local partners deal with the heavy costs of pollution and water treatment that is already required. So I think it's a front end and a back end way to handle this problem, and I would ask for your aye vote.
And Madam Chair, there are no amendments, and this is a do pass, and there's a motion made by the Senator Leno. And so we'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Cox?
No.
Cox, no. Corbett?
Aye.
Corbett, aye. Denham?
No.
Denham, no. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Oropeza? Oropeza, aye. Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Wolk?
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Wyland? Yee?
Aye.
Yee, aye.
8-5, is that it?
8-4. I didn't hear.
8-4 or 8-5?
I didn't hear
Call the absent
Wyland.
member.
I didn't
Mr.
hear
Weiland voted no.
No, fine. Okay.
That would be 8-5.
8-5.
8-5, Madam Chair. That bill is out.
Thank you, Senator Cox. Members, let's go to those vote only. Is everyone here now? I think so. Vote only. These are left over from last week when I inadvertently closed the roll. So we'll start with SB 310. We'll only call the absent members. What? Oh, no, we're going to call the whole roll. Thank you. SB 310 by Ducheney on water quality. This is, I need a motion to pass as amended.
So moved.
Senator Yee moves, and we call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Cox?
Aye.
Cox, aye. Corbett?
Aye.
Corbett, aye. Denham?
No.
Denham, no. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Oropeza? Oropeza, aye. Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Wolk?
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Wyland?
No.
Wyland, no. Yee?
Aye.
Yee, aye.
Madam Chair, let me just ask. I want to be sure. Was that SB 726?
No, that was SB 310 by
Oh.
Senator Ducheney, water quality.
Excuse me. I wish to make to change a yes to a no. Then.
Yes to no. Okay.
I thought we were going down the. Okay, I just have it differently, Madam.
Okay.
Item 310. I vote no.
Yes. Yes or no.
All right, and the final
8 to
tally
5.
is?
8 to 5.
The final tally on SB 310 is 8-5. That bill is out. Okay, the next item, members, is SB 318 by Senator Calderon. It's on dogfighting forfeitures. It is a do pass as amended. Senator DeSaulnier moves the bill. Will you call the roll?
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, I. Cox.
Aye.
Cox, I. Corbett. Corbett, I. Denham. Denham, I. DeSaulnier. DeSaulnier, I. Hancock. Hancock, I. Leno. Leno, I. Oropeza. Oropeza, I. Runner. Runner, I. Walters. Walters, I. Wolk. Wolk, I. Wyland. Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, I. 13. It's 13.
13 to 0, that bill is out. Next is SB 326 by Senator Strickland on land use and the housing element. It's a due pass. Senator Leno moves that bill. Will you call the roll?
Kehoe.
Aye.
Kehoe, I. Cox.
Aye.
Cox, I. Corbett. Corbett, I. Denham. Denham, I. DeSaulnier. DeSaulnier, I. Hancock. Hancock, I. Leno. Leno, I. Oropeza. Oropeza, I. Runner. Runner, I. Walters. Walters, I. Wolk. Wolk, I. Wyland. Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, I. 13 to 0.
13 to 0, that bill is out. SB 352 by Senator Dutton, having to do with juvenile offenders and health. It's a due pass with amendments.
As amended.
And Senator Leno moves that one. Please call the roll.
Kehoe.
Move and do. Right?
Aye.
Kehoe, I. Cox.
Aye.
Cox, I. Corbett. Corbett, I. Denham. Denham, I. DeSaulnier. DeSaulnier, I. Hancock. Hancock, I. Leno. Leno, I. Oropeza. Oropeza, I. Runner. Runner, I. Walters. Walters, I. Wolk. Wolk, I. Wyland. Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, I. 13 to 0.
13 to 0. Next is Senator Yee, SB 586 on the sale of state property. It is a due pass. Senator Leno, Senator Leno moves, but Senator Yee wants to second it. Yes. Will you take the roll, please?
Kehoe.
Aye.
Kehoe, I. Cox.
Aye.
Cox, I. Corbett. Corbett, I. Denham. Denham, I. DeSaulnier. DeSaulnier, I. Hancock. Hancock, I. Leno. Leno, I. Oropeza. Oropeza, I. Runner. Runner, I. Walters. Walters, I. Wolk. Wolk, I. Wyland. Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, I. 13 to 0.
13 to 0, that bill is out. Next is SB 653 by Senator Correa. It is foreign limited Indian tribes. It's a due pass as amended. Take a motion from Senator Corbett and call the roll, please.
Kehoe.
Aye.
Kehoe, I. Cox.
Aye.
Cox, I. Corbett. Corbett, I. Denham. Denham, I. DeSaulnier. DeSaulnier, I. Hancock. Hancock, I. Leno. Leno, I. Oropeza. Oropeza, I. Runner. Runner, I. Walters. Walters, I. Wolk. Wolk, I. Wyland. Wyland, I. Yee. Yee, I. 13 to 0.
13 to 0, that bill is out. Next is SB 726 by Senator Ashburn, having to do with district hospitals hiring physicians. It is a due pass. Take a motion on that.
Make move.
Senator Cox moves that, and this is allows special district hospitals in only his. It extends a pilot program, and I think it's just in Senator Ashburn's.
What's the number of the bill?
The bill number is SB 726.
I don't think it's.
Okay, it's for special district hospitals, not beyond his district. Just all right, Senator Corbett.
Madam Chair, I just have a quick question. I know this bill was amended before coming to appropriations, and I'm just wondering if you could just let us know what the current support and opposition is.
The CMA is neutral on this bill now. I don't have the full list of support.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Then this is Senator Ashburn, SB 726 on special district hospitals employing positions.
Madam Chair, I do have support in opposition.
All righty. Well, go right ahead.
It is Regional Council of Rural Counties is an aye. Opposition is California Medical Association. California.
No, CMA is neutral now, Senator.
All right, thank you. California Radiological Society was listed as being opposed, and California Society of Pathologists was listed as being opposed. But you've heard the Senator correct the one about California Medical Association.
Madam Chair, I move the bill.
Senator Leno moves the bill, And we'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Cox?
Aye.
Cox, aye. Corbett? Aye. Corbett, aye. Denham?
Aye.
Denham, aye. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Orpeza? Aye. Orpeza, aye. Runner?
That's the Ashburn
Runner,
division.
aye. Walters? No. Walters, no. Wolk? Aye. Wolk, aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Let me see. 11 to 1.
Should be 7-5.
11 to 1.
Oh, 11-1.
11 to 1.
I'm saying 12 to 1. I'm sorry.
Beg your pardon, it's 12, it's 12 to 1. 12 to 1.
Yeah.
One abstention, right?
7, 8, 9, 10. It is 11.
It is 11 to 1 and one abstention. Next and last on the vote for vote only, and then we have to go back to today's on-call measures members. But the last one on vote only is Senator Wright. It is SB 826. It has to do with general obligation bonds. Thank you, Senator Cox. Senator Cox moves, do pass. Call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Cox?
Aye.
Cox, aye. Corbett? Aye. Corbett, aye. Denham?
Aye.
Denham, aye. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Orpeza? Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Walters?
Aye.
Walters, aye. Wolk?
Aye.
Wolk, aye. Wyland?
Aye.
Wyland, aye. Yee? Yee, aye. 12 to 0. 12 to 0.
Okay, 12 to 0. That bill is out. Members will return to today's file, the on-call measures. There are several, so we'll take them in file order. And will you please tell us what bills we're doing?
Okay. SB 455, Lowenthal, do pass. Current vote is 6 to 2.
Lowenthal 455. Okay, everybody there? And we call the absent members.
Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Orpeza? Aye. Orpeza, aye. Runner? Wyland?
No.
Wyland, no.
All righty.
8 to 3.
Hold it. Let's Senator Runner hadn't voted yet. So SB 455. This is on high-speed rail. Okay.
Denham?
Aye.
Denham, aye.
Okay. And Senator Runner.
Runner?
Runner's a no.
Runner, no.
Okay. Everyone. Okay. Then the final count
9 to
is
4. 9 to 4.
9 to 4, and that bill is out. And next,
SB 730, Wiggins, do pass.
SB 37 Wiggins, and the chair is an aye,
And the
the vice chair is a no. This is on solid waste fees, members. SB 730, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You want to call the absent members, please?
Hancock? Hancock, aye. Orpeza? Aye. Orpeza, aye. Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Wyland?
No.
Wyland, no. 8 to 5.
8 to 5, and that bill is out.
Yes.
And the
SB
next-
783, Ashburn, do pass as amended, 5 to 0.
Senator Ashburn's 783 is also on high-speed rail, members, and the vice chair and the chair are both ayes. Will you call the roll?
Denham?
High-speed rail 783 by Ashburn.
Your vice chair's pointing to his eye.
Denham, aye. DeSaulnier?
Sorry, you got something in your eye. Aye.
DeSaulnier, Hancock? Hancock, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Orpeza? Orpeza, aye. Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Walters?
Aye.
Walters, aye. Wyland?
No.
Wyland, no. 12 to 0.
12 to 0.
I mean 12 to 1, I'm sorry.
Oh, beg your pardon.
12 to 1.
That's right. Okay. 12 to 1. Okay. And last but not least, oh no, it's not last. We got a few more to go. Okay. Go ahead. We are at
SB 31, Pavley, do pass.
This is SB 31, Global Warming Solutions by Pavley. Chair is aye, vice chair is no. Please call the roll.
Denham?
No.
Denham, no. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
DeSaulnier, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Orpeza?
Aye.
Orpeza, aye. Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Wyland?
No.
Wyland, no. 8 to 5.
8 to 5, that bill is out.
SB 578 right, do pass.
SB 578, right, members. This is child support interest accrual, and it's a do pass. The chair and the vice chair are aye. Call the roll, please.
Denham.
Aye.
Denham, aye. Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. Oropeza. Oropeza, aye. Runner.
Aye.
Runner, aye. Walters. Walters, aye. Wyland. Wyland, aye. Yee. Yee, aye. 13 to 0.
13 to 0. I'm getting there.
Yeah, just 3 more.
Okay.
SB 744 Strickland, do pass.
Senator Strickland's SB 744. This is on clinical laboratories, members.
There's just one missing, Leno.
Oh, there's just one missing. The chair and the vice chair are ayes.
Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. 13 to 0.
13 to 0. That bill is out.
SB 108 Walters.
Senator Walters, SB 108 on charter schools, do pass. The chair and the
do
vice
pass
chair.
as amended.
As amended, correct. Thank you.
11 to 0.
11 to 0. Please call the roll.
Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. Oropeza. So that's 12. 12 to 0.
You're off. Okay. Very good. 12-0, that bill is out.
The last one.
And the last one.
SB 149 Kehoe, do pass as amended.
This is a
7
wonderful
to 0.
bill. This is the state claims bill, members. Non-controversial. The chair and the vice chair, aye. Call the roll.
Denham.
Aye.
Denham, aye. Hancock. Aye. Hancock, aye. Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. Walters. Aye. Walters, aye. Wolk. Aye. Wolk, aye. Wyland. 12 to 0.
12 to 0, that bill is out. Yes.
I noticed there were a few I haven't voted on. Maybe they went to suspense. I don't know.
They were probably just went out.
Well, let's see. Let's see. We didn't close any rolls, so why would they have gone
I
out?
don't know. Maybe.
What happened to the Flores bill?
This went to suspense.
Went to
suspense after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one here? Are you going to the?
Suspense.
The Senate Appropriations is adjourned.